Hey, Broadcast Church, welcome back to another edition of our online discipleship. If you're doing this by yourself or with a group, I pray that this time is enriching and that you grow closer to Jesus through it. I want you to share, what is your favorite movie quote and why? Press pause, and when you're done sharing, press play, come back, and we'll dive and go a little bit deeper. Here's a quote for you. Certain things in life simply have to be experienced and never explained. Love is such a thing. Maybe you've heard this one for sure. Never judge a book by its cover. You know, even though we know that we need to experience the deep richness of something by going deeper, usually we settle for the quick and easy. What looks good, or let's be honest, if it looks like work, we usually shy away from it. When the psalmist wrote about understanding God, I think that's why he used the phrase, taste and see that the Lord is a good, as opposed to see and taste. Deeper things of God, like transformation, must be experienced in order to truly understand the effects of it. That's why it's so hard to explain to our friends and family what God has really done in us. The deeper things of God are usually not going to be experienced on the cover, but it's on the inside where we are truly changed. Transformation happens from the inside out, and I'm not going to sugarcoat it. It not only takes time, but intentionality. And at the end of the day, it just comes down to a choice. It's like going into the buffet line at the restaurant. It's almost as if the devil knows how most of us are hardwired. He knows that if he puts the easy to make, the cheap, the low nutrient things up front, that most of us will gravitate towards it because it looks good. It's the mac and cheese, the fried foods, the upgraded frozen pizza that we will load on our plates. Most of it has little or no nutritional value. But the owner, he hopes that you'll load that plate up so that there's little room for the finer and even more expensive things that are out there on the menu. It's the things like the steaks and the salads that it takes time. You notice those little plastic pinchers to get the grapes and the veggies? It takes a lot longer than those big old spoons that are found in the mac and cheese. The owners, they bank on the fact that you won't want to wait in that line, or you won't want to take the time to get those fruits and veggies and fill your plate up with good things, but instead will choose the cheap stuff that tastes and looks good first. If restaurant owners know this, then trust me, the enemy knows it too. And think about your plate. If we're all given the same size of plate, say time, then what will you choose to fill it with? It really comes down to a choice. Because you could choose to eat well at a buffet, but it might take time getting to the back and using those little plastic tongs that can only grab one piece at a time, or choosing to wait in that steak line instead of settling for the instant potatoes and the mac and cheese. The enemy hopes that we will fill our plates with the less important things, or the things that have the least nutritional value. I think that's why the psalmist says, taste and see, instead of see and taste. And have you noticed that the things that really taste good, they don't always look the best? I used to hate the look of mushrooms. I'd look at them and just go, ugh, gross. But once I got over the fear of how they looked, I was blown away at the flavor that they added to my food. I find that God, He works many times just like that. The things of God are not always easy to see. And to be honest, sometimes they look like a mushroom. Compared to the warm and the gooey hot mac and cheese, it doesn't look so appealing. But once you've tasted and seen what it really can do, you will never truly understand how good it really is. God is meant to be experienced. His words are true and they lead to life. They feed your soul. That is why so many explain His words like food in the Bible. They are more important than the bread that you eat. Job was able to go through life's trials and tribulations because I believe he not only consumed the words of God, but listen, he digested them, meaning that they were fuel for his faith. He goes through the trials, and his friends are insisting that God was letting all these bad things happen to him because he must have done something wrong. But Job, he writes this: "But he knows the way I take. When he has tested me, I will come forth as gold. My feet have closely followed his steps. I have kept to his way without turning aside. I have not departed from the commands of his lips. I have treasured the words of his mouth more than my daily bread." Are you consuming the words of God? Reading them? Meditating on them? Have you followed his ways so closely and not turned to the right or to the left or departed from his commands? Do we treasure the words of God more than we do the food we consume? Job and Jesus both understood the way that we fend off the enemy and we stand strong through the trials. It is to be filled with his words and wisdom that come from God. Why? Because they feed your soul. They are nurturing to the spirit. And when you are squeezed, it's them, those words, that start to come out of you. That's why Jesus quoted them. That's why Job says that he never went and strayed away from his commands, but that he treasured the words of God more than his daily bread. The flesh says, "See and taste." But God says, "Taste and see that I am good." Go over the discussion questions found below in the comment section or the description on our YouTube channel. Be intentional, and let's learn to make better choices in what we are consuming. May God be our ever help and the Spirit our guide. Stay strong and choose wisely. We'll see you again next week. We truly are better together.